Welcome to the Church Communications Podcast. We want to help you become a church communications expert. We understand it's a challenging and ever-changing role because we worked in the church too, which is why we built a community of over 30,000 church leaders that are ready to support and cheer you on. Your hosts for the show are Katie Allred, Kenny Jahng, with special guest host from the church communications team. They're here to help you and equip you to better reach your community. We'll talk shop with practitioners, professionals, and communications experts about what's working, what's not, and what's next.
Welcome back to the Church Communications Podcast. My name is Abby McCulley, and today I am joined by Julie Farrell, founder of PlanHero, a software that makes signups so easy. Julie, it's great to have you back with us today.
Love being here. Thanks for having me, Abby.
Absolutely. So most of us are probably familiar with local organizations in our community, in our town, that provide help to needy and at-risk people. You're probably thinking of maybe some of the bigger ones like Habitat for Humanity and some of those more well-known, or maybe even some like local ones that are only where you live. But we tend to have a heightened awareness of these organizations, specifically during the holidays, when they try to partner with churches to meet holiday-specific needs. But today we want to sort of dive into ways that we could link arms with these organizations throughout the year. So Julie, let's start with some of the things that come to mind when we're talking about this topic for you. What comes up for you?
Absolutely. There are really two major ones that I can think of. And one is kind of a send-off for summer, which is coming up. And you know, when you think about kids going home, everybody has different kinds of homes that they're going home to, and hopefully they have a home. But you know, in terms of what they have to look forward to, they may be in an empty house all day. So if you can think about things that those kids could be doing, you know, during their time off in summer where, you know, a lot of folks might be having their kids in camp or, you know, doing various activities or learning how to play tennis or something. Think about what you can do for other kids who might not have those same opportunities. So it could be that you have people contribute, you know, everybody contributes $10 and then you've got enough to send a kid to camp or several kids to camp. It could be things as simple as, you know, really kind of adopting a child through some of these local organizations. And maybe you're adopting, you know, 10, 12, 20 kids, and then have list of fun things for them. You know, maybe it's, you know, felt pens and pads, you know, get outside and draw nature, or squirt guns. That was always a good one for me. Maybe it's a slip and slide. I'm pretty sure they still make those. When we were kids, they had things called jarts, which are lawn darts, which I don't recommend. So that's a no. I'm pretty sure you could impale a kid to a tree with those. I have no idea how they were ever allowed. It was like a flying dart, like a bomb.
Wow. That's, yeah.
You know, maybe gift certificate to get a swimsuit, or if you've got some local public pools that, you know, typically they'll have an entrance fee. Maybe you get a guest pass so that they can go once a week. You know, things that are a little bit more cultural. I know in Santa Barbara, we've got, you know, a great museum that's for kids, Moxie. They've got some summer programs. Go in and talk to some of those folks and say, hey, can we negotiate something? We'll pay half and you know, donate half, and we'll get some kids in here who don't normally get to come in. So I think any of those kinds of signups where you're really, you're really making a difference in a kid's life, because what's the old saying? Idle hands are the devil's work, or playground, or something. I can't remember what it is. But
yeah,
there's a lot to that. I think, you know, kids get out of the routine, and it's nice to have stuff to do, and nice to feel like you have some means for doing it. So that would be the summer send off. And then another cool one is back to school. I know that when we were sending our boys back to school and you get the list of everything that your child needs to go to school, you're like, oh, wow. And, you know, we were fortunate in that we were able to go and do that, but it was still, you know, by the time you get the shoes that now fit your child because they've been wearing flip-flops all summer and they're put through, you know, it's expensive to go back to school. And this is a little bit of a segue, but there's a lovely woman down in Atlanta who uses our software every year to engage all of her fellow hairdressers to do girls' braids before they go back to school.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's super cool. And so, I just keep envisioning all these darling little girls going to school feeling great because they've got their hair done and they just feel good. And I think, once again, if a kid feels good emotionally, then they're going to be a lot more successful in school. I'm pretty confident there's plenty of science around that. They have the ability to, plenty of data. So, the backpacks, the pencils, the erasers, all of the electronic gear, I think, is supplied by the school, but I think they still make them, learn how to write. You can develop lists and have a backpack that's full of each of those items, and you can have all of those items individually listed out. Child number 1, here's the backpack, it's the crayons, it's the whatever, grade 7 or whatever it is, and have it specific to that kid. And the great thing about this also to me is, someone with a little more means can maybe pick up the backpack, sign up to get that. But the pack of crayons could be, your elderly woman who really wants to participate and is on a really fixed income, but wants to feel like she's paying it forward. So, people can sign up for what works for them, and you can make it so that everybody can participate. So
definitely. And I think, as we're highlighting ways to partner with local organizations just outside of the holidays, I'm thinking back to my main remembrance of doing something like this in my local church growing up is that we did angel tree at Christmas. And so you would get the name of a child, and then their Christmas list, and our family would bring back presents for them. Yeah. But I love the idea of incorporating it throughout the year, because not only are you connecting with the child and serving the child well in a tangible, practical way, you're connecting with their family, the parents, the caretakers, grandparents, whoever is, taking care of them and facilitating their going back to school experience or their summer experience, at home.
Yeah.
But also, it's such an opportunity, I feel like, for local churches to partner with the local organizations.
Absolutely.
Maybe, whether they're, Christian organizations or not, maybe they're just local nonprofits, humanitarian sort of organizations. The potential for that relationship by starting a small project like this, there's just unending ways that the Lord could use those relationships further down the line. So I love this. I think it's a simple way to meet very tangible needs and also engage with the community, as well as engage, like you said, with several different parts of your congregation so that everyone feels like they're taking part in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love, and as you were saying that, I was thinking of, again, other non-affiliated groups, in Santa Barbara and other places where I've lived that are very local, and they really dialed in. Not that the national ones aren't, because of course they have their local presence and get dialed in, but some of them are very very in tune with what's going on in the community, and you really do have an opportunity to create some fantastic relationships. And I think in an overriding way, as you're saying, this is kind of walking the walk, walking the talk, right? This is the community and helping people who really need it in some cases, a pretty fundamental level. It may be back to school clothing, and again, Gabby, you have clothes, but I felt so cool getting to go to school in my new school clothes.
Oh, me too. That first day of school outfit.
It was a big deal. And, you think in terms of the kids who don't get that. And I guess that's a first world problem. But anyway, I think it's a great way to engage. So,
well, I would love to see how simple we can make this using the PlanHero tool.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Why don't you get that pulled up? And I also want to note to anyone who's listening, if you're listening to this podcast audio only, we have it available with video on our YouTube channel. So check that out. It'll be linked in the show notes.
Awesome. Thank you, Abby. And what I pulled up here is just the dashboard. So when you come in, you're going to come in to see my tools, and you won't need all of these tools. You would either use the sign up tool or the club tool, probably the sign up tool. And I already have this adopt a family prepped with a little information. And this is the idea was just adopting 5 families. And if you go in with your date, what you will want to do for the date is set your whenever you want everything dropped off is the date that you'll want to use, and then maybe have a window for drop off. So maybe it's 10 to 2 on a Saturday or something where most people will be able to make it, and that can be your drop off time. And then you'll want to say where it is, so maybe it's at the church, back door, maybe something like that. And then you can put in the address for your church. And not that your parishioners won't know where that is, but
just nice to have. Maybe they're new to the church. Maybe they forgot.
Exactly. Now, where was that place I liked? Okay,
Yes.
So then the next thing, this is all sort of laid out so that you first are entering in your title, and then a description, and then your date and location. So you just follow it down like you would, like as if you were reading a page. And in this case, we're going to put in a simple sign up list. So you might want to say family number 1. And it's a good idea for all of these examples that we're using, whether it's for the summer send off or the back to school or adopt a family at Christmas time, to number the families so that you obviously keep their identities private. But also then when people bring stuff in, you want them to label that, family number 1 on it. So it's very easy if everything's wrapped, for example, especially the holidays. You don't have to rewrap them because you're trying to figure out who this is for. So make sure you can make sure that you annotate that in your description too. But so this might be, and it's kind of nice to have a little description, like single mom with 2 children or something like that. And I guess I've got this going for Christmas here, so I'll just say coat for mom, and then you could put the size in, and you just need one of those, and then you could just continue adding things. So boy age 6, jeans.
Oh, okay. So we can add as many individual items as we want, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, see, this is so efficient because I'm going back to the way that we did this at my church as a kid, which that was a long time ago, of course, but we literally had like a Post-it note with every little item written on it, and you would just take the Post-it note with you to like Walmart or to wherever you were shopping. Right. And so this, also I want to clarify, this can be split up. So like I wouldn't adopt the entire family. I would just say I'm buying the one coat for the one family.
Exactly. Or you can grab the whole family. But I have been invited to participate in some where it's been for the whole family, and I'm just going to be honest, I didn't like it because I may be sharing too much here, but they were asking for a lot of really expensive things, which is fine, except by the time I added it all up, it was going to like equal what I was going to spend on my own family for Christmas, and Christmas is an expensive time. So, I think if you break it up, then you can feel good that you're participating, but it's not going to break your own budget. So that is why I like to break it up. That said, a family could go ahead and sign up for all of these. Sorry, a church family could sign up for all of these and therefore take a whole family on if they wanted to. So, it kind of depends on what's being asked for and how you want to set it up. But I do like this way because I think it encourages more participation from more people. You're not kind of,
I definitely agree,
family that can take on another family, especially if there are a bunch of kids in the other family.
So. Definitely. It may discourage someone from participating because they say, I know I personally can't afford to fund this entire family's Christmas, but I might be able to buy a couple of new outfits, so it engages more people. It shares the opportunity, honestly, with your entire congregation.
Exactly.
And yeah, as you mentioned, it will, depend on the items that are being asked for and everything. But ultimately, the flexibility is nice because you, as the user of this PlanHero sign up tool, you have full decision making, power to decide how you want to run it, how it's best going to work for your church and serve the people that you're trying to serve.
Absolutely. 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 So, and this could be maybe board games, let's say. I'm just putting some, so it could be clothing, it could be board games, it could be whatever you want it to be. I mean, maybe it's a basketball and you can throw an emoji here of a basketball for fun, just to make it a little bit more exciting. So you can have actually kind of fun setting these things up. So that's what your first list would look like. And then you just make another one for each of the families of everything they need. And then people can sign up for those individual time spots. I would also mention that you could add into this, you could use our collect money lists. And, these people could donate money instead, and you can specify what they are. So I'll donate instead. They're all donating, so I guess I should say money. And you could say, it's a gift card for Amazon and $25. And then you as the church can purchase all of these things with the money that you receive and send them out as needed, but maybe you want, 6 or 8 of those. And you could just continue like that. Maybe it's a gas card. Gas is really expensive. So lots of options for this kind of thing as well. And I'm just going to plop a couple of those up there so that you can see them. But that's kind of a nice other option. And this can all be in the same sign up. And then finally, you can add a list with time spots. So these could be your volunteers on day of drop off. And your volunteers, maybe you do a couple of time spots. So we said you can drop off from 10 till 2. So maybe you cut those into 2-hour increments, which seems to be a sweet spot. All volunteer. So these are people, receiving everything, and maybe you need, 4 or 5 people there to help receive and unload stuff and organize. So all in one sign up, you can have everything everybody's going to bring. You can have your volunteers, and they can be donating money.
I love that. You don't have to have 6 different pages for all of this stuff. It's all in one place.
All in one.
And so how is, if I'm managing this, say I'm like the coordinator or whatever, and I'm creating the sign up, where does all of this data get collected and stored so that if I'm like, oh no, I don't remember who said that they were bringing a coat for family number 5.
Right.
That's all being tracked and held somewhere, correct?
It's in a place called the Magic Cloud, Abby.
Oh, we love the Magic Cloud.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. Okay, so let me launch it and I'll show you. It's a great question. So I'm going to launch this. I've got my reminders in here for everybody who's signing up. And so right here in downloads, that's going to show us, I can either grab a CSV file, which has all of the signups, which is super handy. So that has all the information you need and want. This one, it's interesting. Initially, when we did our CSV file, we thought, oh, yep, that's all anyone's going to want to see is, who signed up for what. Well, we had a great nonprofit who said, oh, no, I want something that includes everything, including what hasn't been signed up for, because I need to go after the folks, and say, hey, we need more stuff. We're missing this, and this. So this second one will download everything. It'll show everything that's been taken, but it'll also show you where your gaps are, which is handy.
That is nice.
Yeah. So that's all there. And then this PDF is another option, and that will just have, just the person's name and who signed up for what. And that in particular is handy at the day of drop off to have that there, because you can just check stuff off. Okay. Abby showed up and delivered, the boy size 6 jeans. Right. So, that's all here. And it lives on the cloud. And then, under invitees, we don't have anyone. no one signed up yet, but under invitees, once someone is signed up, then you'll see everything that people have signed up for there as well. So there are really 2 spots to see it. And then you'll also be able to see it just here on the sheet, unless you choose to make it private, which you can. You can make any list private. So like if you don't want people, like maybe somebody's donating a lot of money, you could make that, or not very much money, both directions, you can make that private. So no one really knows who is signed up for the money part. There's a couple schools of thought on that. One is to encourage people, wow, so-and-so donated, I think I will too. Or if you've got some really small numbers in there because you want people who can feel like they can do $5 and they can't do anything more to feel great about that, then making it private can be nice, just so that no one has to feel inferior or superior. So
definitely. I love that flexibility is in there, because again, this is all about giving you the options, making them available for you to make it work for your church. There's not a strict guideline around what is, 1, successful, or 2, effective or efficient. You have to decide that on your own, work that out amongst your own team at your own church.
Yep.
So I love that you guys have the options built in here to turn off and on, because a lot of the other sign up tools out there, it just is what it is. And this is the way that you use it. And so this is the way that you have to use it. You don't have the choice. So I love the flexibility that is built into PlanHero.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. And you can do anything you want. So I'm just pulling up one more that you can see here that was a little more complete, just so you don't have to painfully watch me type stuff in. And if you had these lists, you can upload these as bulk for each one of these individual lists too. Like if somebody already handed you a list. So that also makes it a little bit easier. But this gets rid of all the spreadsheet mess and puts everything in one place, which is handy.
Definitely. And there's so many, we've mentioned some, you mentioned the going back to school backpacks or the summer send off to give kids activities for the summer. And those are great options. I love that. And don't stop doing the toss a turkey at Christmas or the angel tree style things Thanksgiving and Christmas and things like that. But I think the options are endless in ways that you could meet people. I mean, you could come, and as you mentioned before, it may be community specific. You may have the opportunity to step in and get involved in initiatives that local nonprofits are already, they have had going on for 5 years. And maybe you want to hop in and have your church come alongside.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Definitely look into the needs that are in your area and try to come up with something that's really going to benefit your community.
Yeah. And sorry you inspired a thought, which is, I like the idea of that local community and acting locally, because I think there's a real connection that can occur there, with things like Ukraine. That could be a whole nother thing. Like, I mean, what if you're sending a bunch of little backpacks with activities for all these refugee children so that they have something to do? Maybe that's coordinating with Red Cross. Maybe it's, hey, I've got a friend in Bucharest. I'm having them plug in to figure out what's needed locally and then sorting that out, so that instead of kind of feeling powerless, seeing all this pain, there's something that you can do directly to help assuage some of that pain. So
definitely. And it gives you the time and space to focus on those important issues rather than trying to keep track of 6 different spreadsheets, which who wants to do that?
Exactly. We're just trying to put this there and then get out of the way so that you can do good. Right. So
definitely. Perfect. Well, I love this idea. Thank you so much, Julie, for being on with us and walking us through this. I think this has been fantastic, and I can't wait to see how people use the sign up tool in their own church and their own community. We'll see you next time.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks so much, Abby.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Church Communications Podcast. If you want to learn more, join over 30,000 church leaders in our Facebook group at churchcommunications.com/group. If you liked today's episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. It's the most impactful way you can help us reach more church leaders and equip them to better communicate for the church. Finally, don't forget to check out our website at churchcommunications.com. Thanks for listening.